Hello and welcome everybody to the Fake Sports League. Kenny Fisher here, and on Season 4, this is the second game of the fourth season. If you haven't noticed, we are posting daily now. Monday through Friday, you get games 1 through 5, and then next week, games 6 through 10, all of course leading up to our playoff and FSL championship. So of course, during that time, make sure you jump into the FSL Discord for all player injury updates and news. And as always, we've got some great matchups for you today. It is conference play. First game of the season where we see these conference teams go at it with each other. And again, conference play very important in this season, as the top 2 teams from each conference, regardless of record, they are locked into the playoffs. And the last 2 playoff spots will be for those at-large teams. But of course, that does mean the regular season conference champions, each of them will receive a bye week in the first game of the FSL playoffs. So, conference play, very important. Let's get it kicked off here right now. And if you remember, you can always check out the YouTube chapters and jump straight to your favorite team's game. Check out your rivals' games, or of course, sit back, relax, and enjoy all of these FSL matchups today. With the Tide versus Mystics. Tide, it has been a while since they won a game. Fresh squad, mostly rookies. They're hoping to get their first win under their belt. But it is no easy task. They are taking on the Mystics today. While the Mystics have lost their first game, that was the game of the week yesterday. Percy Willis and Burrow Packer, the FSL duo of the year last season, are looking to get a nice bounce back today. Tied at home, 45 up, starting now. And Burrow Packer right away with the takeaway. Mystics with the ball. But Lamar Brown, the rookie from the Tide, scores first in this one. Carlos Gutierrez quick to respond. Doug Powers on the board, 2-1, 2-2 now. Carlos Gutierrez back at it, but it is 3-2, and every player on this Tide offense has scored so far. Audrey Becker gets it back to him with a turnover, but Burrow Packer playing to his potential right now. Courtney Fowler in on the action. We've got a good game here. 5-3. Tide take the largest lead of the night. Audrey Becker with 2 points, and it's 6-3 now. Could the Tide run away with this game? The current FSL champions down 7-4, 3 apiece for Brett Romero and Lamar Brown. Carlos Gutierrez doing everything he can, but it is not enough. The Tide, with the upset today, get their first victory in over a season of play. And it will be the rookies who get it done for the Tide. Lamar Brown, Brett Romero, 3 points apiece, not even to mention Audrey Becker, the first overall pick, with a 2-turnover performance, matching the all-pro Burrow Packer on the Mystic squad. What a win for this Tide organization, and that's going to build some confidence for their young guys going forward. And the Mystics will drop to 0-2 to start the season. A very disappointing start for the defending FSL champions. Join me now in the Frogs Pond, where the Frogs host Los Lobos. Finally, some excitement in the pond as the Frogs start out 1-0. Drew Park and Percy Pena hoping to have a good season so far. But will the Frogs defense be enough to stop this Los Lobos offense? Double first-rounders, rookies Rolando Johnson and Adrian Mitchell leading the pack on this expansion team squad. 45 on the clock. Let's get into it. And Stefan Bain right away, turnover for Los Lobos, and a patient defensive battle to start this game. Chet Linder gets it back to him, and Adrian Mitchell finishes. 0-1, 0-2 now. Raul Johnston for Los Lobos puts the Los Lobos on the board again, on the board for an 0-2 start. And now 0-3. Every member of Los Lobos team has put up stats today. Percy Pena finally getting something going for the Frogs, and Alexander Burke capitalizes. 2-4. The Frogs trying to crawl back at home. 3-4 now. Could they do it? 9 seconds remaining. 3-4, and those Lobos seem to have stalled out. There it is. Raul Johnson gets on the board again, and there might not be enough time. 3-6. The Frogs fall at home, and we have our first expansion team victory today. Los Lobos, 6 points today, 4 of them coming from the veteran Raul Johnston. There's a lot of conclusions that you could draw from a game like this, but it seems to me like Los Lobos have a talented offense, a talented young offense, and they're going to need some leadership from their veteran starter, Raul Johnston. Exactly what they needed today. 4 points for the vet, 3 points from the Frogs. Now it's the Rebels at home taking on the Sharks, and I've just got to warn everybody up front. The Sharks looked like one of the best teams in the FSL last week. I do not think it's very controversial to say the Sharks probably have the best offense in the league. Veterans Boris McLean and Stefan Fitzsimmons are going to have their hands full today. But don't count the Rebels out just yet. Philip Bayless and this Rebel squad had taken a very balanced approach. They might not have gotten the win in the first game of the season, but a lot of confidence from this squad that they can show up in the big games like this. 45 on the clock, starting now. And that's exactly what the Rebels needed. Courtney May right on the board first, but Marcus Evans, the MVP, strikes back, and he gets it again. Marcus Evans 1-2 now. Sharks with the lead. 1-3. Alki this time. It is exactly what the Rebels do not need, is blowing a lead early. This offense is not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Sharks. They're going to have to get some more effort in on defense. 2-4 now. Alki and Marcus Evans, 2 apiece. Courtney May with 3 points on the board, and they're going to need some more help from their rookies. 3-5 now. Marcus Evans on the board again, and Stefan Fitzsimmons gets his second turnover. That's what they need. The defense has to step up in a big way. Both points from the rookies. 5-6 now. 2 seconds remaining. Can the Rebels reach overtime? No. It will be Marcus Evans and the Sharks that come away with a 1-point victory. 5-6 on the road. Sharks advance to 2-0 on the season, and Marcus Evans is in mid-season form already. 3 points from Marcus Evans. 3 points from Alki, and this star-studded offense does not disappoint. I hate to use the term moral victory, but the Rebels did just about everything they could today. Stefan Fitzsimmons with a 3-turnover performance. That is exactly what you need from this defense when facing a high-powered offense like the Sharks. Courtney May, 3 points on the board. You're going to need a little bit more help from your rookies here, both putting up a point apiece, but a 5-point performance is not a bad performance at all from this Rebels offense. It is just tough to tame the Sharks, and they just about did that at home. Dragons at home now taking on the Flame. Tobias Fonseca with the addition of Dwayne Wells has set up one of the best defenses in the FSL. Dragons 1-0 on the season, looking for their second win. And the Flame, led by Rogelio Gil, also building a very defensive squad with rookies Kevin Welsh and Jorge Silva. I would be surprised if we saw a high-scoring game here, considering the strength of each of these teams' defenses. 45 on the clock. We've got a patient battle to start us out. Samuel McBride, a turnover for the Dragons. It's like I was saying earlier, this is going to be a defensive battle here. Francesco Sage and Gary Black, 1-1, 2-1 now. Tobias Fonseca with the turnover, and this will be a defensive battle here. Francesco Sage, 3-1, 3-2. Rogelio Gil on the board for the Flame. 4-2 now. The Dragons just staying that much better than the Flame all the way through. No turnovers yet for this Flame defense, but 4-3 now, 5-3. The Dragons just staying an arm's reach away, 6-4. I was not expecting 7 points from the Dragons today, and it's Francesco Sage with 5 points for the Dragons against this really strong Flame defense. But look out, because Francesco Sage in this Dragons offense is nothing to scoff at. 2 turnovers from Tobias Fonseca, 2 turnovers for Dwayne Wells, 2 turnovers for Samuel McBride, and 5 points for Francesco Sage to put the Dragons 2-0 on the season. This Dragons team looks scary. Maybe the most complete team we've seen so far, and Francesco Sage is turning into a superstar on this Dragons squad. Flame 0-2 on the season. To me, it just looked like they got outplayed on the road. That is a tough environment to play in. Dragons have one of the strongest fan bases in the entire league, and it is deafening in the Dragons' den. Just hard to get a play call out. Flame fall to 0-2 on the season. Dragons undefeated so far. We take things to the graveyard, where the Phantoms have a hot start to the season. Rookies Taylor Barker and Bill Roy have been fun to watch so far, but the Pandas have a pair of rookies themselves. Joey Spencer and Clayton Harrington have been a really strong duo on offense, and I'd expect to see them get even more comfortable with each other as the season goes on. 45 on the clock, and let's get this one rolling. It's a patient start to this one. Jared Kelly with a defensive battle. Turnovers on the board. Bill Roy getting into the action, and Octavio Brin on the board. The Phantoms have dominated the time of possession, but Joey Spencer ties it up. 2-1 now. Chase DuBose. 2-2, Wiley Little. 3-2 now. The Phantoms and the Pandas are going back and forth with it. 20 seconds remain. Phantoms with a slim lead at home. 3-3 now. Cornelius Gross with the turnover. Can the Red Pandas get the first lead of the night? 10 seconds remaining. An identical stat line between the two as Jared Kelly gets his second turnover and Chase DuBose capitalizes. But 4-4, could this go to overtime? 5-4, 5-5. as the rookie Clayton Harrington clutched up and hit the last second buzzer beater to send the Red Pandas into overtime. 2 points apiece from the fantastic rookies, Joey Spencer, Clayton Harrington, 20 seconds in overtime, and let's see what we can get into here. And it's the rookie Taylor Barker, 6-5, 6-6. Clayton Harrington back out at 6-7. 7-7. Both these defenses are worn out, but it's still a tight game. Less than 10 seconds to go, 8-8. Can we see double overtime? Can anyone get the win here? And it's Clayton Harrington again, a double buzzer beater, and the Red Pandas have upset the Phantoms at home. 4 points for the rookie, and the Red Pandas have a new hometown hero. Clayton Harrington with the buzzer beater to send them to overtime, and a buzzer beater again to finish. The Red Pandas with their first franchise win, and it is a good one. The Phantoms, one of the most respected teams in FSL history, and the Red Pandas made some big plays in the biggest moments. And it is time for the game of the week. How many Comets fans were expecting to see their team in the game of the week this early into the season? Both these teams 1-0. Max Adams from the Comets has been phenomenal so far, but the Knights have Quinn McHugh and Benny Bronk. That's the Offensive Player of the Year and the Defensive Player of the Year, teaming up for some major star power on this Knights squad. But they are on the road, and this Comets team is not the same team from years past. 45 on the clock, and let's kick this thing off. Ray Sparks the first to get on the board, and sparks fly as the Comets take the lead 1-0. A couple of turnovers here. Toby Wheeler gets it back for the Comets, but it's the Benny Bronk connection and assist to Lee Cho to tie this thing up. 2-1 now, 2-2. Elijah Ford, the rookie, getting in on the action for the Knights, and Lee Cho steals the first lead for the Knights today. 3 turnovers already for Benny Bronk, but this Knights offense has to capitalize, and Quinn McHugh has been silent. 3-4 Knights barely with the lead here. Max Adams and Ray Sparks 2 apiece, but Quinn McHugh with no points and 5 seconds remaining. The Knights are down on the road, and it will be Quinn McHugh with a last-second buzzer beater to keep the streak alive. Quinn McHugh has never been shut out in a single game in his career, and the Knights needed that one badly. 3 turnovers for Benny Bronk, 3 turnovers for Toby Wheeler, and we're going to need some extra time to decide this one. 20 seconds on, and Leonard Pape for the turnover for the Knights to start this one out. A bit more defensive than we might have expected here, but Lee Cho strikes first for this overtime period, and it's tied back up. Ray Sparks, Max Adams 3 points apiece, 6-6, 7-7 now, 5 seconds remaining. Glenn Evans in lockstep with Quinn McHugh today, but it won't be enough. Quinn McHugh does it again. 8-8. This will go to double overtime. If we can't decide a victor in the next 20 seconds, we will have to go to shootouts. This Knights defense on fire, but the offense is leaving too many points on the board right now. Max Adams has 4 points for the Comets. Benny Bronk with the turnover, his 4th of the day, but Toby Wheeler with his 5th. And Benny Bronk with his 5th. Both defenses on fire tonight, but we need points on the board. Max Adams gets it done 9-9. Lee Cho having himself a game. There's 5 seconds remaining already, and this game is still tied up. 10 points now for the Comets. Can they do it? And it's Elijah Ford, the rookie for the Knights, to keep them alive, but it feels like the Knights have just been playing from behind all day today. 5 turnovers from Benny Bronk, 5 turnovers from Toby Wheeler, and we will go to shootouts. So, for those who are unaware, shootouts will consist of a 1v1. One offensive player versus one defensive player. And if the offense can score on the defense, it's a point, and if not, it's a miss. It will be a best of 5 and then alternating until we hit a conclusion. Just keep in mind, it's typically much easier for an offensive player to score than it is for a defensive player to block. Home team will start, and it will be our ones. Max Adams, number 6, versus number 17, Benny Bronk. And he scores. The Comets on the board first. Quinn McHugh on offense versus Glenn Evans on defense. And Quinn McHugh scores. It's 1-1 on this board. On to the 2s. Ray Sparks gets the point for the home team. Back with the 2s, Lee Cho versus Elvin Noriega. And Noriega gets the block. The Comets now control their own destiny. On to the 3s. Jaden Little gets it done. 3-1. The Comets looking strong. The rookies now. And he misses this one. 3-1 the Comets. And the Knights will have to be perfect. And Pape gets the much-needed block for the Knights. The twos, Lee Cho and Elvin Noriga. And he gets it done, Lee Cho on the board for the Knights. And the ones will decide it. And it is over. Comets win. Quinn McHugh will not get a chance to respond. Max Adams, the rookie, has done it for the Comets when it means the most. What a finish to the game of the week. What a finish to the second game of the fourth season. This Comets squad, it is different. It is undefeated. Comets fans, let me know how you're feeling in the comments. And let's take a look at your standings here. After the first game of conference play, things are starting to get a little bit more clear. Things starting to shake up a little bit now. Starting out with our ISC standings, Dragons undefeated on the top of the leaderboard. Los Lobos, Frogs, and Tide all at 1-1 to follow. We have a few tiebreaker rules, including head-to-head and margin of victory. So these teams are still in the correct order as of right now. Los Lobos in that number 2 spot. Flamin' Mystics, both looking for their first win of the season. Pop it over to the FSC. Things a little bit more interesting here. Sharks and Comets, both undefeated. 2-0 on the season. 1-1 are the Phantoms, Red Pandas, and Knights. And the Rebels sitting at 0-2 at the bottom. Now, I know what a lot of y'all are thinking is the Knights, who were just 1-0, went to shootouts with the Comets. Why are they so far down? Again, a lot of that's going to be from margin of victory in some of these tiebreakers here. But with 10 games in a season, every single team is still absolutely in it. Once again, each of our conference leaders right now, that being the Sharks and the Dragons, they would receive a first-round bye and the playoffs. And then the top 2 will receive a spot in the playoffs. So conference play, very important here. There's going to be a lot more conference play to go throughout the season. Make sure you sound off and represent your team in the comments below. What's been your biggest surprise this season? Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time to kick off Game 3 of the season. Until then, I'll be hanging out in the Discord, so make sure you jump in there. I am already hearing that we may have some injury news on the way. So stay tuned, stay locked in, and I will catch you in the next one. This has been an official broadcast of the FSL.